Sorry, what is your official title?
Here's my card.
Could you hand that to me?
Yes.
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay, so here this is. I'm going to give this to you and take it with you. It has all the citations. So these are, conflict isn't necessarily bad. I don't know if you know that or not, but it's not. So here are constructive outcomes of conflict. All right? I like it. You're taping. It's cracking me up. I'm like, are you videoing or you're just taping?
Video, yeah.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a quiz that you could give your folks on, and this is the same citation as this, okay? So you know the source. So this is, I don't know, are you doing a class activity as well?
I'm not sure if there is any, but I'm sure it would be helpful, like,
So-
for our, like, surveys and
Yeah.
stuff. For
So they
people.
could evaluate their conflict resolution skills, and then there's the summary or the key right there.
Uh-huh.
And this, for me, the key piece in any conflict is listening, communicating. So oftentimes, you know, when you talk about conflict, you're talking about two things, and where it often kind of bifurcates into lose-lose to win-win, you know, it kind of goes like this, is people have what are called positions and interests. And a position means, and the story I always tell when I teach my classes, I have one orange, okay? I have an orange here. And I'm sorry, I forgot your names.
Sarah.
Sarah and
I'm Caitlin.
Yeah.
Caitlin. So Sarah and Caitlin, I have one orange, and Sarah wants the orange and Caitlin wants the orange. And so that's the position. Darn it, I want the orange. Got it? So the interest would be for me to say to you, Sarah, why do you want the orange? And Caitlin, why do you want the orange? And you're going to say to me, Dani Smith, I want the orange because I want the juice. And Caitlin's going to say, Dani, I want the skin because I'm into cooking shows right now and I want the zest from baking. And so now we have the interest. So you want to get under the position, below, you know, beneath the position to find out what the roommates really want. So sometimes it's a messy, you know, oftentimes one of the more common issues with students is that one is a little cleaner. You know, I'm kind of all over the place here. This would drive people crazy. I like it more organized as well, but this doesn't drive me crazy. And if it was disorganized and you told me it bothered you, I'd clean it up. Because it makes sense to me, right?
Yes.
But for some people, what's underneath that is, you know, I have an anxiety disorder, and when it's messy like this, I can't study, and that's going to make it you more disposed as a roommate to clean up because now you get it. It's not just someone saying, clean my room, clean the room, which would be a position.
All right.
The same thing with having folks over. People need to study. You have folks over when I'm trying to study. You bring your boyfriend home or your partner home, and you know you get busy with him, and I'm trying to sleep. So a lot of this is scheduling with each other. So what do you need? I need time to sleep, I need time to study, and I need time to be alone. But I understand that you need times to have your friends. So how can we make that work? So I think it's communication, listening and communication.
Great.
So that's why we have the listening. How good of a listener are you?
Okay.
And it's the same type of evaluation.
How interesting.
And then these are blocks that we use oftentimes that we don't listen. So in other words, if Caitlin's telling me her story or we're having a debate, and instead of me really listening to Caitlin, I'm thinking in my head, okay, what am I going to say next to that? So I'm not listening to her. So if people would really listen for interests, I think there'd be far less problems. Conflict isn't bad. Conflict is normal. It's a part of life. People are different. Then this part is really cool, and this has a citation from it as well. But this, I believe, someone was talking to me about this today. I believe if we were more assertive, I'm not talking about being aggressive, and I'm not talking about being passive. I'm talking about being assertive, which means I say what I need and what I know, what I want, but I also respect you as a human being. So I say that in a very respectful way. And I don't think people are assertive.
Yeah, I think that stems a lot of issues. Definitely.
I think that is a huge issue. So that if we could, and I like this because on this page right here, it says this is passive behavior and what it looks like, what you sound like, what you're looking for, what's your payback. This is aggressive and this is assertive. And you can compare it across. It's really very good. And you might want to use this with your folks. And then this is again a quiz. How assertive are you?
Mhm.
So I really think you all like. I mean, again, they're not hardcore psychological evals, but they're like a little way to, kind of assess whether you're assertive or not. You probably know
Definitely.
that already. And then it tells you what your score means. It gives you some assertiveness skills, because again, I think if we learned that, and it's not aggressive, people get really confused. They think that assertiveness is being aggressive, and that's not what it is. It's just getting clear about what you need and expressing it in a respectful way.
Yeah. Do you have any like tips for freshmen who don't consider themselves to be assertive or score low on that? Like, are there many tips to like help you maybe?
There's a great book, and I really am gonna. The book is an easy read. It's I want to say it's in maybe its 9th or 10th iteration. I mean, it's really a good book. It's called Your Perfect Right. In other words, you have a right to say, I don't like that. You have a right to say, I need to study right now. You have a right to say, please don't come home drunk out of your mind, because I don't want to spend all night sitting up with you because you're my roommate and I'm a responsible person and I'm going to worry about you.
Yeah. Like speaking about the rights, the RA brought up some of the student rights yesterday. So could you kind of talk a little bit about the rights that Chapman students have?
Well, that's probably over in residential residential life, but we all have rights as human beings that are guaranteed us under the Constitution of the United States. I mean, even someone was asking me about sexual assault earlier today, and I said, we don't have, no one has a right to invade our space or our boundaries. I mean, that's a right guaranteed us. So I just think as human beings, we have rights to be respectful, to be respected, for you not to touch my things without my permission, for you not to touch my body without my permission. I mean, again, as far as actual student rights, that's going to be under the Dean of Students page and in Student Affairs.
Great.
This particular handout has some tips on how to be more assertive.
Okay, great.
So I think you might be able to quote, and,
I think
and
we'll
the
have a lot of
authors are
information
there.
in there, definitely.
The thing with conflict, and even with roommates, is I like this handout too. This comes from two gentlemen, Adler in town, and it says that there are crazy makers out there, and not everyone is open or disposed or able to negotiate. They just aren't, for whatever reason.
So what options are available to Chapman students if you are really have a crazy maker and like are just not able to get over the conflicts?
Again, I think if it's residential life, they do. That's why we have the training for the RAs. So the RAs are empowered, and they really do have, and I'll show it to you, a recipe on how to help students address conflict and come to a resolution. There's an agreement form. There's the whole 9 yards, and then they agree that this is how we will be. I mean, part of conflict is if you humanize the person, for example, if we can take it out of this position of right and wrong to we both have rights in this room and get them to talk as people, it increases the likelihood and probability that people are going to agree on that. Maybe you're not my favorite person. I don't mean that, but maybe you're not my favorite person, but we have to live together. So let's do that in a real civil way. How can we do that? I mean, that's part of being a mature individual. You're going to be in classes and work with people who you don't like, but you're in a professional situation. You have to learn to still get the work done.
Definitely. Great. Cool. So it sounds like we should also talk to residential life at some point. But so on the issue of roommates again, is there something specifically at Chapman that has stood out of as being a main issue, or
no? I think residence life is going to be able to help you with that.
Okay, great.
I really do. But this is another thing that I think you could give your first years.
Yes.
Is it an article you're writing?
We're doing
a presentation.
It's like a presentation mixed in with like a final
application. We have to do all of this research. We just got to the point where we had picked our topic. Some people are doing like health, some people are doing like smoking and sex, and then like we're doing roommates, and then at the end we have to come up with a solution that people could give freshmen. Like it could either be like a PowerPoint, a pamphlet,
an
app, something that would get information across to freshmen to like, so if people are doing health, they could create like an app that tracks like your eating habits here at Chapman or like the nutrition or whatever. And since we're doing roommates, we haven't figured it out. Gail Griswold.
And what
for graphic design.
very nice.
Yeah.
It's called Research Method for Designers, and this is kind of our
Very
full
nice.
year project,
Yeah.
or full
So-
semester.
So this one here is good. When you're talking with someone, you want to keep it, don't personalize it, don't blame people. These are communication techniques. You want to use I statements, I think and I feel. So again, the assertiveness coupled with this, I love this 4-part message. So this is really based on a true story with me. I had somebody who used to park their car in front of my house in my neighborhood, and it drove me crazy because I wouldn't get my street clean, and I had a jacaranda tree out there, right? Or this is really about my son, who when he's late never calls me, so I freak out because I think something's happened to him, right, when he's coming to visit me. So if you can break it down into 4 parts. So the first part is you say, this tells what's going on. So you say, when you arrived so late and didn't call, got described, it's not saying you're a bad person, it's just saying when you did this behavior, then you talk about your feelings and it reveals the emotion. I felt scared. I felt scared. Then the effects of that is I panicked and I started to freak out. And then this is what I need. Honey or son or roommate or whoever, it would help me if you would just text me and give me a heads up. So there's no craziness in there. It's this is the behavior, this is how I felt, this is what it did, and this is what I need. So when you bring your boyfriend home at night, or your partner home at night, and you're doing your stuff all night, it keeps me up, and I get cranky, and then I start to get angry at you, and then I'm worried that I'm not going to pass my test. And so what I need you to do is give me a heads up, so I can either go spend the night someplace else, and or we can agree upon when you can do that and when it's just not going to work because I have classes. Is that okay? And so this is a great way to start the conversation, putting it on the problem and not on the person.
Great.
And then this is very cool because this is actually a whole little script.
Oh.
So what you do is you say, you be calm and you breathe slowly and you positive self-talk. I can handle this. So I can see you're troubled, what's going on, and now you listen, and now you listen, and this is what you do. And then this is if you want to be a mediator, and I give the RAs, this is a handout I gave the RAs. You do a quick recipe to do a mediation, and it's the same thing. And then this is conflict will happen, people are different. So I think this will be really helpful for you.
I do too. Thank you so much. That'll be a great source. I think we have a lot of good information in that.
Do you have enough?
I think so. I mean, this seems like this will be super, super helpful to us. So thank you.
I think the other thing that students can do is that if it starts to cycle really out of control, is they can also go to counseling, and counseling can help them as well too. I would assume that you could bring your roommate in and you could handle a situation with them as well.
Yeah.
So, you might want to check with counseling to make sure, but I'm pretty sure that that's an option for our students as well.
Okay, thank you so much. That was super helpful.
Yes, thank you.
This will be-
Okay.
Yeah.
You're very nice ladies. What is your standing?
I'm a junior.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a freshman.
First year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are you from, Caitlin?
I'm originally from Aliso, VA.